"It's very hard to live in Haiti and not know who cut off someone's head," said Farmer. A circuitous argument followed. Farmer made it plain he didn't like the American government's plan for fixing Haiti's economy, a plan that would aid business interests, but do nothing, in his view, to relieve the suffering of the average Haitian. He believed that the United States had helped to foster the coup, for one thing by having trained a high official of the junta at the U.S. Army's School of the Americas. Two clear sides existed in Haiti, Farmer said, the forces of repression and the Haitian poor, the vast majority. Farmer was on the side of the poor, but, he told the captain, it still seems fuzzy which side the American soldiers are on. Locally, part of the fuzziness came from the fact that the captain had released the hated Nerve Juste. I sensed that Farmer knew Haiti far better than the captain, and that he was trying to impart some important information. The people in this region were losing confidence in the captain, Farmer seemed to be saying, and this was a serious matter for a team of 9 soldiers trying to govern 150,000 people. But the warning wasn't entirely plain, and the captain got a little riled up at Farmer's denunciation of the School of the Americas. As for Nerve Juste, he said, "Look, that guy is a bad guy. When I do have him in the evidence, I'll slam him." He slapped a fist into his hand. "But I'm not going to stoop to the level of these guys and make summary arrests." Farmer replied that it made no sense for the captain to apply principles of constitutional law in a country that at the moment had no functioning legal system. Juste was a menace and should be locked up. So they reached a strange impasse. The captain, who described himself as a redneck, arguing for due process, and Farmer, who considered himself a champion of human rights, arguing for preventive detention. Eventually the captain said, "You'd be surprised how many decisions about what I can do here get made in Washington." And Farmer said, "I understand you're constrained. Sorry if I've been haranguing." It had grown dark. The 2 men stood in a square of light from the open barracks door. They shook hands. As the young doctor disappeared into the shadows, I heard him speaking Creole to his Haitian friends. I stayed with the soldiers for several weeks. I didn't think much about Farmer. In spite of his closing words, I didn't think he understood or cared to sympathize with the captain's problems. Then, by chance, I ran into him again on my way home on the plane to Miami. I sat with him for a while. I had dozens of questions about Haiti, including one about the assistant mayor's murder. The soldiers thought that voodoo beliefs conferred a special weird terror on decapitation. "Does cutting off the victim's head have some basis in the history of voodoo?" I asked. "It has some basis in the history of brutality," Farmer answered. He frowned, and then he touched my arm, as if to say that we all ask stupid questions sometimes. I found out more about him. For one thing, he didn't dislike soldiers. "I grew up in a trailer park, and I know which economic class joins the American military," he told me. He also said he realized that usually they're not the ones making the bad policies. He confirmed my impression that he'd visited Captain Carroll to warn him. Many of Farmer's patients and Haitian friends had complained about the release of Nerve Juste, saying it proved the Americans hadn't really come to help them. Farmer told me he was driving through Mirebalais and his Haitian friends were teasing him, saying he didn't dare stop and talk to the American soldiers about the murder case, and then the truck got a flat tire right outside the Army compound, and he said to his friends, "Aha, you have to listen to messages from angels." I got Farmer to tell me a little about his life. He was 35. He had graduated from Harvard Medical School and also had a Ph.D. in anthropology from Harvard. He worked in Boston 4 months of the year, living in a church rectory in a rundown neighborhood. The rest of the year he worked without pay in Haiti, mainly doctoring peasants who had lost their land to a hydroelectric dam. He had been expelled from Haiti during the time of the junta, but had sneaked back to his hospital. After the payment, he said, of an insultingly small bribe. A few weeks later, I took him to dinner in Boston, hoping he could help make sense of what I was trying to write about Haiti, which he seemed glad to do. He clarified some of the history for me, but left me wondering about him. He had described himself as a poor people's doctor, but he didn't quite fit my preconception of such a person. He clearly liked the fancy restaurant, the heavy cloth napkins, the good bottle of wine. What struck me that evening was how happy he seemed with his life. The way he talked, it seemed he actually enjoyed living among Haitian peasant farmers. At one point, speaking about medicine, he said, "I don't know why everybody isn't excited by it." He smiled at me, and his face turned bright, not red so much as glowing, a luminescent smile. It affected me quite strongly, like a welcome gladly given, one you didn't have to earn. But after our dinner, I drifted out of touch with him, I think because he also disturbed me.